and his removal of Saddam Hussein in power. As a former Marine, what are your feelings on the pullouts and the plans, especially for Afghanistan and Iraq?
Okay. Well, first of all, once a Marine, always a Marine. I'm still a Marine.
Sorry.
The pullout, I think that it's overdue. I know the big Republican issue is that pulling out is bad for the troops. You know, the troops don't want to, come back home. To me, that's a bit absurd. I don't know any Marines who does not want to come back home. I don't know any Marines who does not want to come back to their families and to their loved ones. You know, the living conditions over there in Afghanistan and Iraq, they're certainly not as comfortable as we would like to think. It's not as comfortable as, the budget shows that we're spending a lot of money giving money to defense contractors to give us a plate that costs 10 American dollars and give us beds to sleep on where not beds to sleep on. It's the living conditions there are horrible, and I think that it's overdue. The troops are ready to come back. It's overdue. This the war in Afghanistan, Iraq. It's already. I'm really glad that the president finally we got Osama bin Laden, but one thing that we failed in this war is that we fought asymmetrical warfare using conventional warfare style. I thought we learned that in Vietnam. The counterinsurgency strategy itself, but really influenced a lot by General Petraeus. It's an asymmetrical strategy, and we use conventional warfare. So, and I believe personally we should have went in with special forces in the beginning because they were criminal acts. They weren't acts of war from another country, and a government's aircraft did not run into our buildings September 11th. These were criminal acts, and I think that we should have handled them as criminal acts. So I think now is the best time to bring our troops back. I would love to see our troops back home before the holidays.
It's funny because you say asymmetrical warfare, and I know, especially from the far left, there's a feeling that a war of attrition occurred, and that the only reason we're able to pull out is from constant drone attacks, constant military maneuvering, to the point where the civilian count is, we don't even keep track of that here in the United States, unfortunately. And I guess that's sort of the nature of being the foreigner on the native soil. And so, and you bring up Vietnam as well. I wonder what parallels, and because you said you see. We learned our lesson in terms of dealing with insurgents and guerrilla warfare. In terms of the pullout of Vietnam when we went out in the 80s, you might not remember that as well as, obviously someone older than us, but do you think that it's going to have the impact within the United States of returning soldiers as it did when, especially for a sitting president like Obama who's going for re-election? Do you think that they're going to come home and feel, hey, this is because of Obama we did this, or do you think it's just the mission has run its course, so we're coming home, and so it's an open political atmosphere?
Interesting. Yeah, that's a really great question. I think that this is the best time to pull out troops, from the Obama administration because we got Osama bin Laden. That's like mission accomplishment, time to come back home. And plus, the war wasn't started by President Obama, so it makes sense, for him to pull him out, especially when he campaigned saying that he would end the wars that he was against in the Senate. So I think that this is the best time to do it. I think he should have done it yesterday, But I think that there's other things that come into play when we talk about it, as far as the defense contractors or Eisenhower warned about the military-industrial complex. We're seeing these guys at their best. We're seeing, during the Kennedy administration, you had the Secretary of Defense was like the president of, president of a Ford or something like that. So it's like, you had these CEO guys, these business-minded people, capitalizing at the expense
that was
of
Dick
American
Cheney.
lives.
That was Dick Cheney with not Lockheed Martin, but Halliburton.
Right.
That's exactly what went under in Iraq,
But I think that this is the perfect time for President Obama to withdraw the troops. I don't think it's going to have any political backlash. I think that he's going to have it, check mark something on his list that he said that he would get done.
And so, do you think the future of American policing is special forces?
I think it should be.
That's the loaded question because obviously insinuating we
Well,
carry
can't be
ourselves to be the
occupation.
police force, but
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like you said, they could have gone in with special forces as opposed to, full scale military, tactics.
Right. I think we should have worked just like we worked with the government of Pakistan in order to send special forces into Pakistan to get Osama bin Laden. I think it's important that we work with those governments, to team up, use coalition forces, to go get the bad guys. I think that we have to respect every nation has their own sovereignty, and I think that as leaders in the global, in this globalized playing field, I think it's important that we set that example, that we respect our neighbors, and also hold people, accountable, whether in states or out of states, who needs to be held accountable.
Yeah, very deep.